I watched a video recently of a person driving around the streets of my town, and it was fascinating because they literally never said a word the entire time. They just drove around. And maybe this shouldn't be fascinating. Maybe this is just a thing that people do. And I'm just a total noob. But if it wasn't about my town, I certainly wouldn't have been watching it. And I watched it like, two speed or whatever, and even then I was like, afterwards I was like, okay, I'm never going to get that 6 minutes back again. But anyway, the point is that I am making a video today with my phone turned around because, so this is Truth or Dare Part 2, because I have a very hard time talking to the camera. I think it might be my age showing, just being honest. Might be the way I was brought up. I was brought up poor white working class, and unions and work ethic and Levi's and boots, and man, we didn't show off, okay? We just didn't show off. We didn't show off. We didn't preen. We didn't pose. I'm not saying any of that stuff's wrong. I'm just saying we didn't. And I was actually afraid to after a certain age, because my dad would cut you down to bloody little ribbons, basically, with a look and a few words, if he thought that you were getting too big for your britches or thinking you were all that, basically. So I've been trying for several years to express clearly and succinctly the process by which I redeemed my character, basically. I pulled my life off of the trash heap where I'd thrown it, little by little by little, but by compromising my integrity and my ethics, my morality, and then my judgment, and then my truth was basically just completely obliterated. And I got more and more miserable, more and more unwell, became less, of a good person, I guess I would say. Less of a person who was capable of making good choices and doing the right things and making her corner of the world the best that it could be, which I realized at a certain point was really all I was supposed to be doing. And I was incapable of it because I had no authentic power. And so I've been trying to share the process by which I pulled myself back from a very scary ledge, and over a period of about 4 years, I took myself off of 5 medications, Prozac, Adderall, Wellbutrin, they were all prescribed through a psychiatrist. And I was miserable, I was fat, had one foot in the grave. I really did, because life sucked, because I wasn't living my own life, right? I was living such an uncomfortable version of a life because I had constructed this life of lies, and it sucked. That's just what happens. And so once I realized what I had done and that I had done it, I set about fixing it. I'm still working on that. But the point is that I got to a certain point and realized that this process is gold. I mean, I don't mean it in the sense of it's valuable or that anybody should get paid for it, because that's precisely the point, that this process that I've been going through to, they call it the hero's journey, or if you've heard of that, but it doesn't matter what you call it. The point is that from the day that you're born, you are becoming, right? And we evolve and we adapt over time based on stimuli around us, and and our need to fit in and all that other stuff. I mean, all the information is out there, and that's how I got it, was because there are these just brilliant people. There have been these brilliant people down through the ages who have figured this out and shared it, you know, from Socrates just out in the streets saying it, you know, to, you know, modern day prophets that are, you know, on YouTube and online, you know, or with sandwich boards in front of concerts, you know, take your pick. But the point is that there's information about how to restore yourself to a harmonious state, to homeostasis. And homeostasis is the point from which you can live your best life. And it's the only way you can live your best life. And it's the only way that we collectively can live our best life. It doesn't matter who you are. You're not going to be, you know, significantly happier or better off than the person who's at the very bottom. It just doesn't work that way. We're all interconnected. It's almost like there's a rubber band connecting us. So you may be way, 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 way up there, have all the money in the world, but I'm gonna turn around, walk back the other way, I don't want to go on the street, and have all the money in the world, but you're still going to have a measure of discontent, because on some level your soul knows that one of your family, because we're a family, human family, one of your family or more, right, but at least one, is suffering. And even if you don't consciously know that, on some level, even if it's cellular, you know, because we all came from, you know, we all came from one atom. That's, you know, everything that you see. So we were all connected once, and we will all be connected again when we die and we go back into the earth, however we do that, and then come back out as whatever, you know, that's the whole process. And right now we're energetic bodies. We're energetic bodies trying to cobble together a material life, you know, a physical life. But the problem is that we don't know what we're doing. We just don't know what we're doing, but we're proud, and we pretend that we do. And so we get more and more out of harmony, basically, out of homeostasis, our bodies and our minds and our relationships and our lives. And then before we know it, our lives are intolerable. Our health is gone, or, you know, we're really sick or whatever. So that's what, you know, every single one of us has seen that happen to people that we know, right? Well, the thing is that everything, the individual is just a microcosm of the collective, and collectively we are in the same place that I was at right before, you know, I started my upward trajectory towards homeostasis, towards being basically a vibrational match for the natural world rather than the material world of modern man, because the material world of modern man has set up a cacophony of sorts that is rattling the teeth out of the rest of the planet. And I don't see how we are going to be allowed to stay if we don't change that. We just entered the 6th mass extinction, and, you know, if we don't start caring for our young and lower our, or, you know, I shouldn't say lower, but basically, yeah, lower the chaos, just like calm it down, right? And stop being so discordant and disharmonious with everything else, the rest of the animals, the planet, etc. You know, 5G sunk down in the ocean, shit like that, that's just not going to fly. Mother Nature's going to say, yeah, you can go. Because, you know, we're too powerful. We're too powerful to be this proud and this ignorant, because we are. We're very ignorant. There's so much that we don't, there's so little we know is the thing. We just don't know really what the bottom line of any of this is. And we're acting like we do. We could be like ants going on about our business, while above us are the equivalent of humans walking around, you know, creating this whole world. We don't know. Could go dimensions all the way up to, you know, there could be 100 dimensions, and we're all stacked on top of each other, not even aware that there's anything else, right? And down below, you know, we don't know. Nobody knows that. And yet, we're all proceeding as if we know everything. We've got it all figured out. We've checked it. We've verified it. And that everybody else's opinions or viewpoints or experiences are wrong. This is bullshit. Einstein tried to tell us that. Everything is relative. That's what he meant. Every single experience, every person, every life is entirely unique. And therefore, none of us can ever judge anyone else. We are all going to be prejudiced against each other. I just mean that basically because we're not going to understand each other, because how could we? We have a completely different experience. Therefore, we shouldn't think that we're going to be able to understand each other. We shouldn't try to understand each other. What we should try to do is to be ourselves, 100% ourselves, without exception, without pretending, without faking, without games, and
you have to be
when you do that, when you live that way, you trust yourself, you like yourself, you love yourself, okay? You don't doubt yourself and secretly hate yourself, which is what's going on now. We all know we're full of shit, some of us more than others. We all know we're fucking up, some of us more than others. And to varying degrees, we know that we're in big trouble. And so we're all just kind of going a little bit crazy. And we're swimming in self-hate and blame and shame. And right now, you know, it's coming down on the heads of the white people. And I'm not saying, oh, you know, poor me, I happen to be white, whatever. It's just that it doesn't need to be coming down on anybody. What we should do is we should try to say, okay, how about this? Why don't we learn from the dumb shit we've done before, especially to each other, and not do that again? Okay, just let's not do that again. And so right now what's going on is a whole lot of the stupid shit that we already did. If you think that what needs to happen is that we need to be shown what it feels like, that's ignorance. And it's also hubris, because the thing is that nobody is free of these sins. Nobody is free of the sin of hurting someone else's feelings, or being biased, or even being racist. I mean, there's so much racism right now aimed towards white people. Every day I hear something about how terrible white people are, we're the devil, and they're white people, and, you know, I'm like, okay, that's not going to help. It's not going to help. It really, really, really isn't, you know. My youngest son's name is Lincoln. You know, I didn't name him after the car. This is a very important subject to me. This subject is so important to me that when I realized that we were going backwards, I woke the fuck up, okay? I did. I was in my backyard with my kids. I was talking about dressing up like a black girl for Halloween, because I've always wanted to do that, because I grew up in the hood. I always wanted to do that. I just thought it'd be fascinating and powerful to literally spend a day as somebody else. And they looked at me like I was crazy. I said, no, I'm just, you know, I'm serious. You know, I just want to experience something completely different. Haven't you ever wanted to experience what somebody else, what it is really like, instead of just what they tell you? Because that's great too. But, and they told me, you can't go in blackface. I said, blackface? Like I was stunned. I didn't even know what to say. I have a hard time even now knowing what to say about that, because this was about 4 years ago. I'm like, the fuck? Like, seriously? Have you lost your entire mind? Who's talking about blackface? I'm not talking about nobody's blackface. I'm talking about experiencing what somebody else's reality is like, you know, in any way. Just a little bit even. And so, you know, they were like horrified, said, oh my God, you can't do that, you'll get killed. And then they were like, well, maybe you couldn't get killed. And my thing is just that, like, I really, really like people. I really love people. I get along with people because I really love people. And people can tell, you know, people are funny like that. We know. And so I don't think of myself as having a hard time getting along with anybody. I don't fear people. I love people. I'm like, what are you talking about? I mean, you know, I said, for one thing, the idea is to pull it off, not to, you know, but the other thing is, why would somebody want to beat me up for trying to, well, I'm an anthropologist at heart, right? So anyway, I digress. The point is this, that this actually proves something else. And that is that the reason that we have such a dearth of new ideas, basically, let's say, or creative solutions being offered to our problems, is because my theory is that there are as many solutions as there are human beings walking. I think each of us has a solution to something particularly that affects, you know, that really resonates. And if we weren't so busy hating, and if we were not so busy blaming, we would be much better equipped and mentally and physically and emotionally oriented towards addressing the issue that meant the most to us. Now, if we all did that, if we were all able to do that, then first what that would mean is that our own life was free of, you know, chaos and dysfunction, because you can't get to the point where you want to help anybody else until your life is free of chaos and dysfunction, period. So if you think that you right now are a revolutionary or whatever, no, you're just making noise. You're literally just making noise, and you're probably making it worse, because you will burn through whatever political capital you have. And while you have people by the short hairs, you will be able to play the victim card. As soon as you don't have them by the short hairs anymore, they will thump the shit out of you twice as hard and try to make you pay for putting them in the position of, having to eat shit. It just doesn't work. It has never worked. Human beings are strong. We have strong spirits. We're smart. We're clever. And we can be mean. And when we're mean, it's because we have lost the ability to love. And there's only one way to love. If you think you're in love with somebody that you're shacking up with or whatever, unless you love yourself, you don't love them. You don't. You need them. You want them. You're using them. Love only comes as a result of loving yourself. And once you love yourself, you love everyone, because you can't love yourself without realizing that you are everyone. So as soon as you love yourself, you love everyone. And then you just see everything that everybody does as something that another human did. Where's the room for racism in that? Where's the room for oppression in that? That's another human that did that. That's how I'm walking around every single day. Every single person I see, I feel them. Like in my bones, I feel them, and I see them, and they make me happy or they make me sad. But they don't make me angry. They never make me angry. And all I want to do is just put my arms around the whole world. Well, of course I can't do that, right? So I've been trying to figure out how to put a hug into words, I guess, and say, we're okay. We really are. Human beings are cool. We've been making so much progress, and we can continue to make progress. That's the thing, is we can just keep going and getting better and better and better, or we can continue this bullshit and tear the world down around our ears. And that's what we're going to do, because we're going to reach a tipping point. We're not going to be able to hold back the chaos, and it's going to wash over all of us. And the ones who are going to suffer it the most are going to be the people who right now think that they're being the revolutionaries, yada, yada, yada. No, we are going to suffer, and then we're going to hurt each other even more. And that's exactly what those in power want us to do. Not because they're evil, but because they are confused and they are corrupted. And that's a matter for resolution, obviously. But the person who's going to resolve that is right now so filled with chaos and dysfunction that they don't know it's their job. And I mean, I'm being a little bit facetious, but I'm not really, because there's a whole lot of us not doing our jobs. That's what I'm saying, is I have so many ideas in my head. I get them every day, several of them every day. And I keep realizing that they're not just for me. Because at first I was like, and the reason why I'm getting these ideas is because I've always been a solution person. I've always been the kind of person that's like, no, that's unacceptable. We got to do something about that. And not just for me. In fact, especially not for me. Like, this is how I became, a shepherd of kids, is because first kid that I got close to, my niece, I was like, oh, no bad shit. Nope, nothing bad's ever touching a hair on her head. Well, just that commitment right there has saved me from myself so many times I can't even tell you. It's what helped me get back up when I was down. And I had this thought, my parents killed themselves. If I die like this, then what's going to keep what's going to keep all that from my kids, right? That's not okay. I made this vow years ago, 35 years ago or whatever, when my niece was born, that I was going to be the adult that I wish I'd had as a kid. Well, my kids are basically all grown, all 8 of them, and I still love kids, and I thought about, well, what can I do to... But then I realized, the best way that I could do something positive for the children of the world, which is all if I did nothing but that the rest of my life, I'd be happy, is to help their parents heal. Because we've taken enough kids away. Okay, that's not working. In fact, that's why we've got the homelessness problem that we do. We've got mothers in the woods and sleeping out and letting men do unspeakable things to them because they hate themselves because they lost their children. Okay, and I'm telling you, I came close to losing my kids because I had a head injury and I had generations of dysfunction, and it all just hit me right upside the head at the same time. And I was in a very precarious place. And if I'd have lost my kids, I would have been done. I would have been done. I would have gone officially crazy right around the bend. I would have given up. I would have just sat down and nothing would have gotten me back up. What got me back up was that I didn't lose my kids, and then because of the hard stop of having my parents suicide as a do not cross, not past this line kind of thing, I had some serious incentive to figure this out. And what I figured out was that I was not happy, and until I got happy, I was a suicide risk. period. So what are you going to do? You know, I had to have that really hard conversation with myself. Like, did you mean that, what you said about breaking the cycle for your kids, or are you full of shit? And I just started doing the work. That's it. It's just that simple. I just started doing the work to clean up the messes in my life and stop being an asshole and stop doing things I knew were wrong, and do things I knew or I thought were right. And I still mess up all the time. But I can tell when I do, because I get fuzzy, I get itchy, I get irritated, and things don't work. And if I stack up enough things that I'm going to turn around again. If I stack up enough things that I know are not right, but I do them anyway, I get stupid again, basically, is the bottom line. I start to feel crazy again. Because crazy for me, right before I started this whole process, I had no pattern recognition. My spatial ability was completely gone. Part of this was a head injury, but part of it also was lack of sleep, and also association, and just not taking care of myself, not eating right, not, you know, just the whole thing. 45 years of abusing my body because I didn't love myself. Well, that's what happens, and that's what we're doing. It's not hard to be in shape once you like yourself, and once you have a reason. Like, if you figure out what it is that you're here to do, then you'll knock off your own bullshit. You'll get out of your own way. You'll stop that shit, because it just stops you. And the other thing is, every time you start to have a pity party, you can stop yourself and yank yourself up short, because this is what I did for the longest time, and now I pretty much don't have them anymore. But I would start to kind of feel sorry for myself, boo, 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 and my lip would quiver, and I'd be thinking about how I'd been done wrong some, or how it's just too overwhelming, and how am I going to do this? I'm a 50-year-old white female, and I have a year of college, and I have a felony record, and I'm white trash, and I was diagnosed with bipolar, and there's no way that I'm going to be able to do anything in this world, and I might as well just sit down and cry, right? Had that thought. And then being entangled with people who don't want to let you go, and then that just feels like it's completely hopeless, right? So there's a lot of things that we can get hopeless about. My health, because when you abuse your body, it catches up to you. My health is not great. Some days I'm absolutely positive I'm dying. Other days I feel fabulous. Even when I feel fabulous, I think I might be dying. But the point is this, that I'm not going to die with this inside of me, because that's what my parents did, and that's what so many people have done, and it's unacceptable. It's unacceptable to die with our greatness inside of us. That's what we're here for. And when you die with your greatness inside of you, you die a failure. I'm sorry, but you do. Not like bad, not like terrible or evil. Nobody's mad at you. But you kind of stole your life. And so I have made friends with not only my demons, but my parents' demons. I'm not saying all of them, because they keep coming, but and every time I make friends with one, there goes another self-sabotaging behavior gone. And the self-sabotaging behaviors are a lot easier to get rid of when there isn't a vacuum, when they're gone. What is there instead is that mission, is that self-worth, that self-respect, that pride, the actual pride, not hubris, but pride. Pride of, okay, like I take at least one long walk a day. I work my ass off every minute of the day, but I take at least one hour-long walk a day, and I do intermittent running. I run up a hill, and then I do bursts of running. But anyway, but I usually end up taking a second walk, just because it feels good, because I love it, because I love to be outside, and I see people, and it's amazing. Anyway, the point is just this: my life before I started this, the night that I tried to get Harborview to commit me, and they wouldn't. You know, and I said, I'm done. I can't even think straight. I was losing chunks of time, and I was getting ready to panic. And they said, are you suicidal? And I said, no, because I'm not. Because, hey, my parents killed themselves. That's not an option for me, you know. And I said, no. And they said, well, sorry, but, you know, patted me on the head and sent me home with lithium. I'm like, I'm not fucking taking lithium, so I stopped taking everything. I know you're not supposed to do that. I'm not saying anybody should do that. I'm just saying I had this moment, which I swear to God was not my own, and I've had so many others I can't tell you. It was some kind of little divine thought that came to me, where I remembered all of a sudden that I actually used to be a happy person. I used to be a pleasant person. I used to love life. I just was thrilled to be alive. I loved everybody. I loved school. I was one of those people. It was just ridiculous to give you a toothache. But that's just how I came into this world. I just, I took myself to church when I was 4 years old. For years, the bus came and got me. I don't even know how I found that church. My parents were hanging out with the Hells Angels, for God's sake. They were not wanting me to go to church. But I went because I loved those people. And there was a library by my house. I was there all the time, from the time I was 4. They would let me check out books. I had 104 books or some shit all over the neighborhood my parents had to gather up. And that was all gone. It was all gone because I had curled in around myself in my misery, in my bitterness. And I had become somebody that my previous, any previous relationships with family members or anything, I wasn't the same person, so why would they want to be around me? And the thing is that since I decided to take complete and total responsibility for everything, all of it, backwards and forwards, my parents, all of their shit, my kid, and so the thing is that means my kids, that means my kids' future, that means, you know, I'm not saying I'm like owning it, I'm just saying I take responsibility for doing my part to ensure that they have every opportunity, just like I always have. And that means that now at 50, I have to show them what it can look like to be 50. And I don't want them to be tired and, you know, hating everything and hating everybody. And so, you know, I'm getting my ass in shape, and I'm creating my life, you know, creating a life that supports my energy and supports my creativity, and so that they know that not only is it okay for them to live their own lives, but that they have to, that that's their job, and I don't need them taking care of me, looking after me, worrying about me, staying around, you know, none of that. Go, live your life. And that also, not only that, but it's a very secure platform for them to stick their toes out and into the world and figure out how to be adults. And most of us didn't have that. And what happens is when you get pushed out like that, you know, unceremoniously pushed out, by the time you gain your feet, you probably have kids or, you know, responsibilities, or you're already in trouble. And I think that we should just accept that life is hard, life is complicated, and that we are all truly doing the best that we know how. That's all there is to it. That's what Maya Angelou said too. You know, when you know better, you do better. Well, how are we going to learn how to do better if we don't talk to each other? How are we going to learn better if we only talk to people who think like we do? And if we smack down anybody who says anything we don't like, well, then what's going to happen is we're going to end up like Stalin, and we're going to die, and nobody's going to know we're dead because we're going to be locked behind our door, and everybody's going to be too afraid to open the damn door. Well, actually, even before he was dead, he died because everybody was afraid to go in there. Because you off with this, you know, he'd kill people for shit. So, you know, this is the culture that we're setting up. We've got young people who are doing exactly what makes sense to them, and they are doing things and saying things and creating their world in a way that is not going to work for them, is going to end up becoming, you know, painful and unsustainable and all that. And that's going to be our fault because we're allowing them to do it. And also because, well, we don't have the courage to stand up and say, that's what we need. Some courage is what we need. That's all. It's just what we need. We need some courage and some honor. We need people to say, you know what? No, I am not going to watch Game of Thrones. I'm going to get up and do something to make myself stronger, more capable, and more aware. And if we all did that, it would radiate outwards. We would heal our relationships, because that's just what you do when you stop hating yourself. And we would, you know, we would see our purpose. And obviously, you know, I could say this all a lot more beautifully and eloquently and articulately. I've developed several theories and dozens of hands-on suggestions for community building and business building and things like that, that, you know, I need to start a podcast. I haven't because I had a head injury in technology and I don't get along anymore. So I need to put together a team. I'm not saying that's an excuse. I'm working on it. But in the meantime, I continue to do the work to make myself as authentically powerful as I can possibly be, because I had a long way to go and I still do. And I guess what I'm saying is that, you know, I'm not trying to wait until I can say it perfectly. I'm trying to say it now, because people are hurting and people are suffering and relationships are dying and children are being taken and, you know, bad shit is happening. And the thing is that we need to work together. We need to stop moving away from each other. We need to stop hurting each other. We need to work together. If we work together, we can pull this out. If we work together, we can help our children. We can heal our relationships and heal our world if we work together, all of us. And it makes total sense that we would, because guess what? If we go extinct, do you think just a few of us go extinct? Do you think just one race? And what the shit is this thing about race anyway? You know, that's all just us putting all those labels on shit, right? I mean, really, honestly and truly, everything has to do with, you know, your culture and your habits and your socioeconomic status and habits and culture and beliefs. That's all it is. Skin color is such a trivial thing upon which to to structure. We have structured an entire... What are we doing, people? This is crazy. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Most of my favorite people throughout my life have not ended up being white. And the people who have hurt me the most have been my family members. Duh, they were white, looked just like me. So we need to knock this shit off. In fact, when I needed something, when I needed to be told, when I needed wisdom, when I needed support, even just like virtually, it was strangers that supplied all that to me. It wasn't people who looked like me often. And it was very often men. And yet, like, there's certain things where, like when I'm reading fiction, man, women just do it for, they tell the stories that I want to hear, you know? Elizabeth Berg and Barbara Kingsolver, Ann Tyler, you know, I have all these authors that just speak to my soul. Isabel Allende, I have a list as long as my arm. I'm not going to go down that. But then, now I'm on the street because I got tired of being in the dark. This is the point, though, is that when I need to learn something about my brain, or which I've needed to learn a lot about, or philosophy, or just on and on and on, I go out and I try to find whomever makes sense to me. And I keep looking until I find somebody who speaks in a way or explains it in a way that makes sense to me. And very often they end up being men, only because men have been at all this a lot longer, and that's okay. We need to just flip and relax about this shit. You know, we've gone a little overboard. We've thrown the baby out with the bathwater. Now we're all trying to act like men. And what's happening to our children? What's happening to our children is that nobody is parenting our children. And, sorry, I just thought I saw a key. And I'm making a belt out of keys. Anyway, because that's what I do. I make art out of other people's cast-offs. You know, Craigslist, Curb Alert. And I paint things, and I glue things, and I hammer things, and I do exactly what I want, and I make garbage into interesting and crazy and beautiful things. And then sometimes I just take a canvas and paint something, but I make jewelry out of old jewelry and clothes out of old clothes. But all I'm doing while I'm doing that is I've got my headphones on, I'm learning, I'm listening, I'm trying to figure out everything not everything, but I'm just trying to kind of rewire my brain, I guess I would say, because I was taught so many dysfunctional ways of thinking and acting in the world, because of course my parents were dysfunctional. So what do you think I learned? Well, we don't never discuss that kind of thing. We just say, whatever, figure it out. Well, it doesn't work that way. We are what we learn. So you come out of a dysfunctional childhood, you're going to have a dysfunctional adulthood. I knew that on some level, so I married somebody who seemed like he had it all figured out. But I did it in haste after my dad killed himself. It was not a good time. I shouldn't have. It was not a good, but the thing is that I'm an honorable person, and we have a family, and we have kids, and, so I do my best to keep my kids, keep their environment together, and that is its own set of challenges, and, I've shared a house with my estranged husband for 13, 14 years, long time, okay? And we're a little bit oil and water, but we both are oil and vinegar. But man, hello, good night. Okay, anyway, man, ladies, you need to step up, because it's hard taking a walk in this neighborhood sometimes. I'm just kidding, I'm joking, but men are a little eager sometimes. But anyway, so the point is that if we could all just get in a better mood, like ourselves, like life, decide we want to live, decide we want to laugh, decide we wouldn't have to worry about whether we were being oppressed or whether we were being controlled or blah, 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 blah. We wouldn't allow it. We just wouldn't. That's just the way people work, is that we accept what we think we deserve. And that's just the truth. So if you feel like you're getting mistreated or abused, or you have been, or whatever, you might want to look at where your barometer's set. I don't date because, well, for one thing, I'm not done with my maturation process. Why would I date at the level that I'm at? But the other thing is that, and I have way too many things that I'm trying to sort out and figure out, and it wouldn't be fair, but also because my picker's still broke, I got a broke picker because I was taught to have a broke picker. This is my house. So I have a broke picker, but I have a green thumb. Anyway, so I stay home and I hang out with my kids whenever I possibly can, and I work on my stuff, and I work on my yard, and it's dark, you can't see anything. I talk to my neighbors and take my walks. I take care of my dog. I try to figure out how to eat better. I try to sleep at night. I talk to you people every single day in my head and on paper and on camera, and I say, I love you, please. Let's not fall apart. And I say that 100 different ways. And I listen to music. I listen to so much music, and I think about how much fun it would be to just have big dances, you know, neighborhood dances, you know. I dream. I spend a lot of time with Martin, and Martin makes my heart feel better. And Martin Luther King, that's the man right there that had it on lockdown. So I'd suggest you go listen to some of his speeches, especially the one on October 26, 1970, that's my birthday. Or not 1970, 1967. 70 is my birthday, but the point is, that's one of my favorites, and it'll make all the hairs on your body stand up, or at least it should. And it has all the answers, and it's really not that hard. If we love ourselves, we'll love each other. And we will take care of each other, and we'll take care of the world. That's really all there is to it.